Hi, I am Ajay Yadav and I am going to explain the Almabetter project 2. So, in this project 2, we are going to explain about the first question type, that is code bug fixing. In this section, a couple of issues are present in the provided code, and identify and rectify these errors to ensure the code function correctly. So we have question number one, and in this question we have to find, is the power of 2, is the number is power of 2. So here we see, in this approach, the given solution use the bitwise approach to solve this question, but there is one problem in questions. We use or here instead of n, so we have to correct this. We have to put and instead of or, because the condition n is greater than 0, check if the number is positive, which is necessary because negative number cannot be power of 2. So use logical and instead of logical or. Now we have question number 2. In this question we have check minimum add to make valid parenthesis. So in this question the provide code is lie in the logic. We if you see here the use of for of loop. So in the there is one problem in the solution, that is in the logic. The provide code lies in the logic used to update the open and close counter. Instead of open close, it's use open counter. So when countering a logic parenthesis, the code should decrement the open counter. If there are open parentheses to make with other, it should increment the close counter. So close counter should be incremented here and open counter should be decremented here after that case. So change this logic, after that it become correct. Now in this project we have section 2, that is improvise perspective to coding problem. So we are going to explain. The first question is chasing happiness through the number. So in this approach we see the it's calculate the sum of square. After that it use do will loop. So in this solution, my approach to is, in this solution I use the set instead of do will loop, because in this approach we initialize a empty set. You can see here I initialize the empty set to store the number of encounter during the process. We continue the process until either the number become 1, in which case it is a happiness. If it become 1, it will be happiness. So or we uh, we encounter a number that already in the scene set, indicating that we are stuck in a loop, and if we stuck in this loop, that means there is no happiness. This approach simplifies the code and improve the readability. So this approach 2 is better than approach 1. Now I am going to talk about the third types of question, that is analyze traditional versus optimized approach. That is same what we lost in scene in this section. Evaluate both the traditional and optimized solution and provide for each problem. This involves explaining why the optimized solution considered better than the traditional approach. Please compose your response within the allocated space beneath each question file on GitHub. So we have question number 1, that is we have to find the missing number. Okay, in traditional approach we utilize a hash set to store all the element of given array, and this involve iterating through the array once to populate the hash set. Then we iterate from 1 to n to check if it integers exist in hash set. This approach required two iteration over the array and resulting in a time complexity of O of n. Now we see optimized approach. So the optimized approach utilize a technique known as cyclic sort. So we use here the cyclic sort. You can see in this section to find the missing number. This approach modified the array in place by swapping element to their correct position by repeatedly swapping element until they are in their correct positions. We can find the missing number. This approach only required a single iterable over the array, resulting in a time complexity of O of n and avoiding the needs of additional space like in the traditional approach. You can see guys, we use hash here that use additional space complexity. So therefore the optimized approach is considered better because it is more efficient in terms of both time and space complexity. Now we have the last type of question, that is logic building and coding question. You have been tasked to develop the logic for provide coding problem. So we have question type 1, that is pick element. Okay, so we initialize for the making pick any element. uh, we have a function where pick element we initialize the two pointer left and right. Okay, to start and end of the array respectively. We enter a loop that continue until the left is less than right. Within each iteration we calculate within each iteration we calculate the middle index. Okay, mid using binary search. After that we use here the binary search. We then check if the element admit is greater than the element to its peak, right? If it is, if it is, we check if its peaks element by also checking if it is greater than the left neighbor. If mid is peak element, we return its element, and mid element. Otherwise, we update the right and we update the left. We repeat the process until left is equal to the right, at which point we return the left point as the peak element index if we not find solution here. Then the left is our peak element. Thank you. Now let's talk about the next type of question in this project, that is incooperative based and what scenario in code. So write code to demonstrate each question worst and best case scenario. The question will be hosted on GitHub list. So the first question is binary relay of bitland. We know about the bitland. They were using a lot of binary number to solve bitwise process to solve any question. So to solve this question, here we initialize max and to 0. This variable will store the maximum bitwise and value find nested loop. So the outer loop iterate through each element and the inner loop iterate through the elements that come after the current element in the loop. Bitwise and calculation for each pair, we calculate the bitwise and using norms of I and norms of j update maximum if current and the result of bitwise and operation is greater than the max, and we update the max. Okay. Now so this is our approach, and from here we take the user input. Now let's talk about best case and worst case scenario. So in this section, the base case scenario will come in the array is arranged in such a way that the maximum bitwise and the value can be found quickly. For example, if array contains pair of the same number, the bitwise end of any two same number will be number itself. The array 888 will yield the maximum bitwise and the value is 8 quickly. So we are easily find. So this is our best case scenario. Now let's talk about the worst case scenario. In the worst case scenario, we need to compare all possible pair of to find the maximum bitwise and value, which is O of n squared time complexity. The arrange 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 require comparing all the possible pair to find that the maximum bitwise and value is 4. So this is our solution. Thank you.